challenges together. So as to open our meetup session, we're going to hear a welcoming brief from Dr. Masi Guru, who is going to join us soon.
Hello, David.
Yes, hello.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you, and we're very glad to have you. Welcome so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I must apologize for the late connecting. I was struggling with the internet, but finally I'm here. All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Shall I proceed?
Yes, please to the welcoming brief.
All right. I don't know if I should share my screen. Maybe I'll be very quick. Okay, sharing screen is disabled, but anyway, I can continue. First of all, thank you everyone, and especially the leadership from the Air Clear network for organizing this particular workshop or talks. I think it's very important that we get the momentum moving all the time. So from the WIO-ECSN point of view, we feel very honored to be part of this ongoing initiatives, and we're looking forward for the continued collaborations with the network. So was informed that we are supposed to just give a few remarks and not to spend so much time of this particular workshop, but allow me to say a few words that I think might link up very well with today's talk. So, like you know, we WIO-ECSN support the science in the region by make sure that we have understanding on all aspects of the marine science in the region by generating knowledge. We are also linking the knowledge that we have with the policy to make sure that the decisions that are made within the region are backed up by the science. And of course, in it, we are also supporting the regional agenda on marine protected areas, blue economy, fisheries, and so different sectors that contribute to the overall improvement of the our coastal and marine coastal livelihood, so to say. In short, I believe we have people from different part of the region, but if not, but I think it's also good to mention that we also operate across the entire Western Indian Ocean Marine Science the entire Indian Ocean region, including the coastal states of Tanzania, Mozambique, Kenya, and South Africa, and the islands of Madagascar, Seychelles, Mauritius, Comoro, and Reunion. At the moment, what could be interest to you? We are supporting the ocean science development in the region, particularly on SDG 14. You know, it's focusing on the life below water, and to some less extent also on the SDG 13 that's linked very well to climate change. And of course, we are continuing to support other global initiatives like the ocean decades and so and so. So of importance to the early career, I think, is the research grants that WIO-ECSN support. We supporting traveler grants for people who have been invited to different conference and symposium, so to say. We also supporting a small research, in terms of uh, its size in the budget. We're supporting the famous we call MAG 1, and we are also supporting students and especially young careers who have their samples or they have data and then they want to find somewhere across the globe where they can either do the lab work or do the analysis. So in this case, in general, we really are supporting the early career scientists to make sure that they are also excelling and helping the society, so to say. Over the years, we have seen there's an increase in the number of the applications and the awards that we have been awarded. And in short, the number of young career in the region is rising up from the 2018 that we started collecting the information up to 2022. I can say there's been an increase in the number of students and from masters and the PhD, but all are in the early career category. Last but not least, I have to say there have been also some challenges. We have limited resource. We can not fund each and everyone. So the grants are competitive and the individuals, they have to apply for it. And most important to you, I think, is to emphasize that for one to receive a particular grant, it's important that he or she understand the contribution or the problems that he or she is trying to solve in the regions, and of course also highlight on to be clear on the approach that one is going to take to solve the problem. And most important also, don't just copy other people's work. Try to be creative and think globally. I think that's in short on what I wanted to say. And I think what we are doing, it links very well with some of the initiatives that the network is supporting. So we are looking forward to some of the deliberation of this particular workshop. And we're looking forward also working with you next year when we have a new phase for the MASMA grant. So thank you very much, and back to you, David.
Thank you very much, Dr. Matthias Iguru. It's a very wonderful speech to hear from you, and really, it's a hope. It's a speech really gives hope to us and as scientists, every careers who are trying to work on different pressing challenges for. And it's also a very hopeful speech which showcase the sustainable ocean can work together. And I believe for EDU and we have talked towards making everything possible and coming to you as the network also and what thank you very much. We have today and the whole WIO-ECSN work. It's very nice to hear it. Now we are going to our speakers. For our first session, we are going to hear a presentation from General Secretary at the Western Indian Ocean Scientist Network, who is going to take us through the visions and mission of West Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network. What the network is doing, what kind of people are engaging with it, and what are our goals in the network. As we heard from Dr. Matthias Iguru, that network Science Association is supporting early career works. Now we're going to hear the Western Indian Ocean early career scientists from what have we got and what are we doing. Welcome, Frank Mirogo, the General Secretary of the Western Indian Ocean early career scientists network. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ilas. Can anybody confirm that you hear me clearly?
Yes, Frank, we can hear you clearly, and we can also see the screen you're sharing.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you once again for the Western Indian Ocean Marine Association, WIO-ECSN, for bringing up this webinar into reality. So I will just have a very short presentation that just talks more of what is the network all about and how far we have been moving since we started in 2017. So in a very narrow background, so the Western Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network, it was formed back in 2017, and we are lucky during that time in 2017, it was the 10th WIO-ECSN Symposium held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and plus our fellow other network WIMS, which we were also formed back in 2017. WIMS stand for the Women in Marine Sciences. And since then, we have been able to rely on our vision and mission of bringing together early career scientists to basically strengthen their capacity, but to give them a platform whereby they can be able to grow in terms of marine sciences in the WIO region. So since we started with 9 countries back in 2017 and up to 2021, we have now 10 countries, and we have over 2,000 followers in our social platform. So like now you can be able to see how far we have managed to grow within these 4 years since we started from 71 members, but now we have that huge platforms. And so far we have been involved in the WIO-ECSN Symposium. And in 2019, we managed to have a special session during the WIO-ECSN Symposium in Mauritius. And we are also looking forward this year to have a special session whereby we are looking forward to discuss a number of raising issues that concern the early career in the WIO region and how we can make our network more stable and more grown as we are in this phase of the 10 years of the ocean decade. And so far, since we have started, we have been trying so much to have the human skills development so that it can impact these early careers in their their areas of specialization. So far, we had a number of training, and plus we were lucky enough to have 2 research crews that had a number of early careers back in 2018 who have participated to build up their skills. And so far, we also came up with an outreach program that aims to reach out to these early career scientists to in different universities or colleges, so that just to bring them together to be able to network and also to be able to share a number of different opportunities that are currently happening in our region. So far, we have done 2 outreach programs back in Zanzibar, Tanzania, and in Mauritius last year. And also we are looking forward to extend this outreach program into different member states within the WIO region. And we are also, we have been also participating in the capacity development beyond the coast that involve the deep sea research. And this basically aimed to target the sustainable development goals. And we have been having a number of early career scientists who have been involved in different deep sea research in the region. And so far, with the huge help of the WIO-ECSN news brief, we have been given an opportunity to share our stories as early career scientists. This it is an opportunity for the early careers along the WIO region to share your stories. Like you can't really just publish your work and you find out like maybe 2 or 3 people, they have read your work, but via the WIO-ECSN news brief under the category for the WIO-ECSN, you can also be able to share your story. So far, we have increased the visibility of what early career they have been doing in the region and outside the region, as well as now we are also working with different networks, and also we are looking forward to help the other young networks to establish their own network. So let me just give an opportunity and tell you all, like, the WIO-ECSN news brief, it welcomes all early careers. So you can just use this as an advantage to make sure like you connect with other people and also you inform what is happening in your region. And just for a little discussion on what we have been able to achieve so far. So we have been able to be one of the voices of the East Africa young scientists in the island states. That means the Western Indian Ocean Early Career Scientist Network, it has been growing, and we have been also reaching out to the youth along the WIO region, but also outside of the WIO region. We have also grown in number. Like if you can follow us in our social platform and see how many engagements we have been getting so far, like it is really impressive on what we have been doing so far. Apart from that, we have been able like to share different kind of opportunities that involve trainings, workshops, and research crews like to early career scientists. And for more updates, you just need to follow us in our social platforms plus our web domain from the main page of the WIO-ECSN. And we have also participated to the WIO-ECSN Symposium, and we are also looking forward to be part of the 12th WIO-ECSN Symposium this year in Nelson Mandela Bay, South Africa. And we are looking forward to see all of you there. And so far, we have been able to be acknowledged from the Global Ocean Science Report back in 2020 as one of the most active network in the whole of Africa, which it makes us more of an unique, and we are really proud of you guys, how you have been making the network more active as it was before. And recently we have participated to the preparation phase and writing of the UN Ocean Decade booklet for the ocean science, which we are looking forward for it to be released anytime soon. Yeah, so looking forward to what we are looking forward to achieve during the Ocean Decade to the side of the WIO region. We are going to have a number of programs that are going to come. So I just call upon for the early careers to be ready and to get engaged. One of the program which we are going to have, it will be called the Many Faces, that will involve a number of workshops, trainings, and different events that will make sure like the early careers in the WIO region, they are really taking part during this phase of 10 years of the Ocean Decade. And we are now focusing more on strengthening the collaboration and regional ties between our network with other network. And we are looking forward to contribute to the UN Ocean Decade challenges in Africa. But in most cases, we are looking forward to work with different stakeholders in attaining the UN theory of change, the science we need for the ocean we want by 2030. So I think that summarizes everything. And for more information, you can follow us in our social platforms, in our web domain, for more updates on different kind of opportunities. And also you can watch very interesting YouTube videos from our network and from different area careers along the region via our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And this marks the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. That was a very wonderful presentation. Honestly, the Western Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network is a very platform to accelerate one's career in science in different activities and different fields, where you can be incubated and grow in the areas of your specializations and work in different areas to solve the problems that our ocean is facing, and work contributions. Everything will be highlighted and well known, and really appreciating what you're doing. So I would recommend everyone and each one of us that windows are open for the West Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network in any ways you might engage. As Frank has portrayed everything, I honestly really would like to see everyone engagement in different aspects of our ocean. Thank you very much, Secretary, and thank you for a wonderful work you are doing in the Western Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network. Now we are going to see a short video presentation, which is going to show us the status of our ocean that's going on in the ocean, because we as area careers, we should work in different aspects of the ocean, in science fields, in project fields, and different areas. So we truly need to understand the areas where we want to work in, and the projects that we want to work in, and the science that we want to implement. And work field is in the ocean. We really need to understand the current status of our ocean. So we're going to have a video presentation, which is done by the East African Ocean Explorers, working to showcase the oceanic challenges and different works that are being performed in the East Africa, including Tanzania. And unfortunately, but the centers which could what they wanted to show us in the aspect and the status of our ocean, so that everyone would understand and really be inspired to take actions in the science, in the project, and do activities in working together for our ocean in area careers. Frank, if you could portray the video, would be very wonderfully appreciated. Thank you.
Bahari yetu, wengi wetu hatuijui bahari na hatuielewi. Najiona niko nyumbani nikiwa baharini. Kufahamu kwangu, nimeona watu wangu Waswahili wamesafiri kwa karne nyingi sana kupitia bahari. Sisi ni watu wa bahari na bahari inatuita. Kwa muda mrefu, kadiri ninavyoweza kukumbuka, nimevua baharini. Kukumbuka kwangu, nimevua nikiwa ufuoni. Miaka kusonga, baba yangu alianza kunichukua kuvua bahari kubwa. Niliona mambo ya ajabu. Kwa muda mchache sana, wapata samaki wengi sana, kadiri ya vile tunavyohitaji. Kuvua samaki ilikuwa ni jambo rahisi kabisa. Samaki walikuwa wamejaa kila pembe ya bahari. Baba yangu alikuwa akinionyesha sehemu nzuri sana za kuvua, sehemu ambazo zina milima chini kwa chini. Na pia alinionyesha sehemu ambazo hatupaswi kuvua, kwa sababu hizo ni sehemu za samaki kuishi. Amenifunza kuwa tunahitaji sehemu kama hizo ili kukuza samaki. Kusudio lake ni kuwa tupate samaki kwa siku za mbeleni. Tulifunzwa kuwa tukiona pomboo baharini, tufahamu kuwa upepo unabadilika na bahari inatulia. Tulikuwa tukihadithiwa kwamba unapozama baharini ukiwa mbali sana na ukaona pomboo, hatupasi kuogopa. kushika pwezi lake na atakusaidia kukuokoa maisha na kukupeleka hadi ufuoni. Kusema kweli, ukichukua muda wako kucheza na wao, utajua kwamba ni viumbe vyenye busara na akili. Bahari inapochafuka, kawaida watu hawaendi kuvua, lakini tuliwahi kufika huko wakati huo na kuvua papa. Watu wanaoogopa papa, lakini wanatupatia faida nyingi sana. Sisi kawaida tunapowavua tunatumia papa mzima. Mambo ya kusikitisha, tunaona wenzetu wanavua kutumia mapezi pekee na kutupa sehemu zilizobakia. Hilo halifurahishi na sio sawa. Pia kuna papa wakubwa na ambao hawana hata meno. Hatukuwa tukiwavua papa hao, kwani baba yangu alikuwa akiniambia ni kama pambo tu la bahari. Walikuwa wengi sana. Unapoangalia unaweza sema wamefunikwa na mashilingi. Ni wanyama wa ajabu. Ukubwa wao unakaribia urefu wa mita 15 au zaidi. Wanakuja chini ya mashua na kuanza kunyanyua juu, lakini sikuogopa. Baba yangu alinifunza na kuniambia hawana madhara yeyote. Hata mimi nilikubaliana na hii. Kuna misimu ya wanyama wakubwa ambao ni chongoe. Unaweza kuona tanga la jahazi mbele yako na kuona maji yakiruka juu kwa kasi na kutoa moshi. Punde tu unamuona chongoe mkubwa anaruka. Huwezi kufikiria mnyama alivyo mkubwa na anaweza kuruka juu hivi. Mara ya kwanza niliogopa, lakini nimewaona hawana madhara. Wako makini. Ukubwa wao kwa kuwaona juu, natamani niwe nitakuwa nao ndani ya bahari. Bahari yetu ni kubwa na inaonekana haina mwisho. Inatupatia manufaa mingi sana. Chakula chetu, maisha yetu, njia ya kusafiri na kufanya biashara zetu. Wengi wetu wanafikiria haitaisha, lakini katika maisha yangu nimeona bahari yetu inabadilika. Naangalia uzuri wa bahari, lakini ukiangalia vizuri unaona vile tunavyoifanyia bahari. Tunafikiria tunaweza kuchukua na kuwa na mazao tena. Tunafikiri tunaweza tupa takataka na zitaenda juu ya maji tu. Hatufikiri zitaenda wapi, zitafika mwisho gani. Siku hizi tumegundua plastiki zimejaa kushinda samaki wenyewe. Zinabebwa na maji kutoka bahari ndogo hadi bahari kubwa. Tunachafua bahari yetu. Bahari si sehemu ya plastiki, kwani samaki wanapokula plastiki hizo, inamaanisha sisi tunakula samaki na tunakula plastiki. Kwa miaka ya sasa, tunalazimika kuenda mbali na kuvua kwa muda mrefu zaidi. Samaki wanazidi kuwa vigumu kupatikana. Jambo la kusikitisha kubwa, wengine wetu wanatumia njia mbaya ya kuvua. Wanachukua kila kitu, hadi samaki wadogo kabisa. Isitoshe, wanavunja nyumba zao na kuharibu chakula chao. Hawasikii uchungu na hawaiheshimu bahari. Bahari yetu inazorota, inakufa kabisa, na sisi binadamu ndio tunaoiua. Mimi ni mvuvi, hakuna kitu kingine ninachoweza kufanya. Nitakuwa mvuvi hadi nitakapokufa. Kwa hivyo, nifanye nini? Kizazi kijacho kitafanya nini? Hii ni bahari yetu, lakini tujue si yetu tu. Lazima tushirikiane, kushirikiana na wanyama wengi, wanyama ambao hawatuletei madhara yoyote, bali sisi ndio tunawaletea madhara. Lakini tunaweza kusuluhisha. Bado tuko na muda wa kuokoa bahari yetu, ikiwa tunashikana mikono pamoja. Watu wetu wameishi baharini kwa karne nyingi sana. Utamaduni wetu ni wa zamani na urithi wetu ni wa kina. Wazazi wetu wamejua muda wa kuvua na wa kutovua. Ndio, tuko na teknolojia mpya, lakini lazima pia tusitumie kwa njia za busara. Tulikuwa tukiheshimu bahari, hiyo heshima lazima tuirudishe, la sivyo tutaipoteza bahari yetu milele. Nimeona sehemu zilizokuwa zimekufa sasa zinarudi uhai. Matumbawe na samaki wanaanza kurudi kama asili. Ni lazima tushikane mikono, tusipoteze urithi wetu. Je, tuko tayari kupoteza bahari yetu? Na kweli tunafikiria kizazi kinachokuja?
Thank you very much, Frank, for the message from the East African Ocean Explorers. That's a very wonderful documentary from them, and it's all free available on Waterbay application. You can find the full video of Bahari Yetu documentary. The main type of training Bahari documentary is to show what's really how far our ocean is currently facing, the changes, the problem that the ocean is facing, and that are really undermining the future for our ocean. And as early career scientists who are working in different aspects of the science and conservations and different projects, it's our duty to save the ocean that we love so much and make sure that it's very safe and sustainable for the future generations. If you could really refer to Dr. Matthias Iguru's point out, he was saying that WAMSA is in different activities of the early career in pursuing and accelerating developing their career works in marine sciences, but you really need to understand the project you are doing, the challenge that you are aiming to solve in the region, and methodology that you are coming up with. And today we are really happy to have you all with us, and we are gearing up together in solving the ocean. And the video has really shown us the really challenges our ocean is facing, and it's really wonderful to understand what are we trying to work on and how are we going to work on it together. Thank you very much, Frank, and shout out to the East African ocean explorers who did this wonderful work in the East Africa to show the oceanic problems that the ocean is facing in our side. There are a lot of things that you can learn from me, and if you want to see the video, you can just download the Water App application and just browse on Bahari 2. That's the name of the documentary, and you can see fully about it. Now we are heading to another session where my colleague, my fellow moderator, Ms. Boja Solaki, will help me moderate this session. And we see we have already Mr. Alex Peter with us. Unfortunately, I don't see other speakers from the session, but we're going to have Alex Peter in this session where they're going to take us through the climate impacts in our oceans and how, as early career scientists, conservationists, and ocean lovers are going to work together in solving different aspects of ocean that are facing climate problems. Welcome, Mr. Bojo Solaki, so that I can welcome your speaker, Mr. Alex Peter, who we already have him inside. The floor is yours. Boja, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, David. My name is Pooja and I'll be moving from now on. And without wasting any more time, let's just directly invite the speaker. I guess it's Alex, right? Who's going to come and tell us about climate change? Mr. Alex, are you around?
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Good afternoon to everybody.
good afternoon.
Can you switch off? It's something that it is too noisy. I don't know. Yes. Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
Can you
Good
hear?
afternoon. We can hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, Peter.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm Alex Peter over here. I'm going to make some discussion based on climate change and our ocean. Particularly, I'll be hitting on the bullet given as per question of under this session, whether the climate is lead and how the ocean has been affected with it. It is obvious that the climate is lead because researches have been made, and of course we can judge whether the climate is lead or not by looking on the climate variables, parameters. When we look on the maybe the aspect of temperature, you can find that the temperature is increasing. And according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, this increase in temperature is attributed to the anthropogenic activities as traced back since the Industrial Revolution. In most places of the ocean, we have been experiencing issues of ocean increase in sea surface temperature that has direct impact on the coral reef. The incidences of coral bleaching is obvious in most part of this globe, and again in the Western Indian Ocean. And of course, we all know what will happen if this critical ecosystem is impacted by climate change, the coral reef. That means the fishery sector will be severely impacted. Not only the fishery sector, but also even this coastal community who rely on fisheries, their livelihood also will be severely affected. For our case, maybe for the Western Indian Ocean, we have these ventures of increase in sea surface. I mean, in the increase in the sea level rise. You know, sometimes it is very hard to tell whether the sea level has risen, as long as the indicator, I mean, the increase in these seas is very minimal, can be measured in centimeter. So just by naked eyes, you cannot detect unless instrumentations takes place to validate these increases. You know, climate change has also intensified some of the weather events. The occurrences of tropical cyclones is what we witnessed in some years back, what we called Kimbunga Jobo. You know, all these are the incidents that are intensified by climate change, which primarily is attributed to the changes in the ocean temperature. The thing here I would wish to share with you is, yes, the climate change is real, and of course, humans are taking measures to respond to such a change. One of the wonderful scenario is that even our responses, the response that we are taking in response to climate change is further threatening our ocean, the marine and the coastal ecosystems. For example, it is undenied truth that the land-based activities, level activities are severely impacted than how the marine and the coastal livelihood is impacted by climate change. What is happening? These people who have experienced, this, whose their livelihood in the land-based activity are impacted, they tend to move towards this livelihood activity that are not much affected by climate change. As I said, the anomalous properties of water gives the water ability to resist a bit the changing in the temperature than if you can compare to the land-based livelihood. By such, you will find that the land-based livelihood activities are severely impacted and the coastal and marine resources, coastal and marine livelihoods. We are experiencing the coastward movement of people from the severely impacted land-based activities towards our ocean. And the point to take is they are doing so in response to the impact of climate change happened on their livelihood, on the coast, on the terrestrial environment. I can say land-based livelihood. As a result, we are finding more pressure on the utilization, on the exploitation of the coastal and marine resources. Therefore, we can find two impacts. The coastal and the marine resources are facing double impact. One impact is the real impact from the changing the climate variables, and the second is the impact that is attributed to how humans themselves respond to the climate change. We can call it the maladaptation. The way we think we are responding to the climate, but in the way of responding, we are causing harm again to our environment or to our resources that we depend on. Okay, on the aspect of mitigating the climate, you know, mitigation, it is an aspect that is basing on reducing the emission of these evil gases, the greenhouse gas. And of course, the current climate change is the human induced. This is not a natural change. This is a human induced change. And therefore, we humans, we are responsible to abate this change. So any activity that we as scientists or as early scientists, we can do to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases or enhance its sink, then we are playing our part in mitigating climate. For example, conservation of mangrove seagrasses, including restoration of these mangrove and seagrasses as well. These are the best initiatives that are helped to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases, as these are they are plant in nature, then they can foster carbon sequestration. And again, on the other case, on the application of technology, maybe if we are using the boat engine that are emitting the greenhouse gases, now I think it is now a time to think on how we can invent or innovate a solar-powered fishing vessels to so that we can show our effort on reducing the emission that may be caused by our boat engine during the fishing operations. I think these are the little things that I can share with you. Maybe if we have, as long as the field of climate is too broad, you can have something to add or any question you can raise on what I have presented to you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much, Alex, for this speech. And speaking on the most harmful threat degrading our oceans, climate change is only one issue we all should be talking on. Speaking of threats, coral reefs, the environment of fishes flourish. And we're also in one way or another contributing to climate change by using maybe unnecessary plastics or misusing gas and energy. So thank you so much. And yeah, one message is that we should reduce our carbon footprints as much as we can, because after all, we are the ambassadors of our oceans, right? Thank you so much for the speech. And is there any question for Mr. Alex? Anyone?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Alex Peter, for your presentation. But I just wanted you to share also how, as area career scientists working in different areas of ocean, we can collaborate in solving those aspects, and different stakeholders can work in doing the aspects. You have mentioned in ways to mitigate climate change, and I would like also to hear how scientists can work on this aspect to make those things happen in reducing our effects and in restoration work.
Thank you for your question. First of all, the aspect of climate change. The aspect of climate change is an area that is not well researched, particularly in our ocean. So as young scientists, we can just come together, implement different researches in this field of climate change, understanding these various scenarios so that we can come up with informed decision. Of course, implementing various activities. And of course, I would like to appreciate you, David. You had a project that focused on the restoration of seagrasses. And this is really a good initiative. We can move forward together, encourage other youth, forming groups, conservation groups, undertaking a massive seagrasses restorations, not only seagrasses, but also mangrove ecosystems. These are the good carbon sink for our ocean. By so doing, I think we contribute significantly in the reduction of greenhouse gases. Hello, thank you.
Yes, Alex, thank you very much for a wonderful answer. So, Roger, I think we close up the session on climate change. If there could be any question from the participants, if any of the participants that we have today would like to ask anything to Mr. Alex Peter about the issue of climate change, how to we can on his presentation specifically, you can just put that question on the question and answer sessions that's available for you, and we'll see it. Also, I'm sure Mr. Alex will respond to that question for you, and together we can collaborate in different activities as Mr. Alex Peter has told us in different restoration activities and research in finding up to what extent are we affected, in what ways can we work together. Put your question on the question and answer sessions and we can see it. Roger, if you have anything before we close the dialogue session.
I think we can move on, yes.
Thank you very much. Roger Solaki for moderating such a wonderful session on climate change. Thank you, Mr. for a wonderful talk on climate change, and I'm sure together we are going to make different down the ocean issues of climate change. Thank you very much. Now, don't forget to put your question, and I'm sure Mr. Alex Peter is going to point on the visible for all the panelists and the participants that we have today. Now we are going to head to another session where we're going to have a presentation from Mr. Edward Senkundo, who's going to take us on the aspect of healthy and productivity on the status of our ocean fisheries and that's oceanic environment and everything. And I'm sure it's going to tell us how we can collaborate and connect together scientists, researchers, conservationists in serving the ocean, different aspects of ocean healthy and productivity. Edward Senkondo, we are very happy to have you today, and the floor is yours.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Iras, and hi to everyone, panelists, and those who are listening from different member states of the WIO region. I hope everyone is doing good. Yeah, let me share my screen. I have prepared a couple of slides which I would like to present on this session. Everyone can see my screen?
Yes, we can see screen and perfectly audible.
Okay, good, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, once again, I'm very happy to be here. This is the network. I can say that I have been groomed here and raised in this network. So it's very happy once again to come back and share the knowledge and experience we have in marine sciences or marine environment. Yeah, also congratulations to Frank and Iris. You are doing a very wonderful job to make sure that you bring together the early career scientists to present their knowledge, skills, and their research, their findings they have, so that we can distribute or disseminate the knowledge of ocean science. So I have been requested to make a presentation on the status of the ocean ecosystem and the roles of the early career scientists in creating a healthy and sustainable ocean in Tanzania. Yeah, first of all, when I was just listening to that documentary from which called Bahari Yetu from East Africa, I would think that maybe I should not present here because what they just explained in that documentary is almost exactly what I'm going to present here. It's unfortunate that for those who are non-Swahili speakers, probably they didn't understand, but contextual-wise, what they're just explaining in that documentary, it is the challenges which our ocean is facing, the current status of the ocean. So the man who was talking in that documentary, he was speaking exactly to what I'm going to present here. So basically I have two rules. First of all, I presented the status and what will be the rules of early career scientists to make sure that they keep or they ensure the sustainability of our ocean. So by content, I will present the status of the ocean, where I will explain a bit on threats and challenges facing our ocean and the immediate solution to restore the health of our ocean. And I will finish with the rules of early career scientists in creating the sustainability of our ocean. So as I said, this has already been spoken in that documentary. I think even Alex also touched a bit on this one. So globally, not only in Tanzania, at global level, even in Tanzania or regionally, the status of our ocean or the current status is diminishing, is declining. Our ocean is totally distracted. And the evidence from this one, it can be seen or observed from activities which is going on or from the changes which can be observed from the ocean. Then from there, we can make a conclusion or we can say that our ocean is keep on declining. Our ocean is distracted. And this has been attributed by, as I said, some activities. The human activities have been increased in most of the coastal areas or in marine environments. And these sometimes, these activities sometimes are called anthropogenic activities. There have been increasing in activities, for example, agricultural activities, mining industries along the coastal areas, increasing timber transportations, which lead to the cutting of mangroves, So those are the kind of human activities. Also expansion of cities and towns, constructions of buildings going there, clearing of mangroves just for aquaculture activities or for agricultural activities. So all those are threats which are imposed by human beings, and this leads to make changes on our ocean or marine ecosystem. But also there have been an increase in pollution because it is accounted that about 80% of pollutants materials or ocean pollutions are coming from the land-based, So they're just coming from upstream and they end into the ocean. So these are also creating problems or challenges, and they keep changing rapidly the marine ecosystem. But also there have been there is an increase in global warming. From the last presenter, Mr. Alexi was presenting about the climate change. And he said that from IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, the status show that the temperature is keep on increasing for some degrees centigrade. And this is keeping on decreasing year after year. I didn't put there the graph, but if I could put the graph there, everybody could see how the temperature is increasing. So increase in global warming is also leading into changes, or it creates changes or problems into marine living organisms. And this global warming, it as Alex said, that it is not natural. This is a human induced. Because most of the global warming, this is the result of accumulation of greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide. So the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, it also leads into the increase of global temperature. And in turn, the global temperature, it's caused the warming of our oceans. And those living organisms or marine organisms which are not capable to withstand that temperature threshold, then they will eventually die, or they will perish, or they will extinct from the ocean. So this is another challenge which is also facing the ocean. But overfishing, that is also another problem which is currently occurring into the ocean. Fishermen are fishing beyond the capacity. According to FAO statistical, it shows that about 34.4, if not 0.8, of the global stock, it's already overfished. So this is another challenge facing our marine environment or the ocean. So if you take all these things cumulatively, that's why we say that our ocean is diminishing, is keep on declining, and then it needs a really quick and immediate intervention to rescue the oceans. So by status, we can conclude by saying that the health of the ocean is not good, it's declining, cause of those which I've explained there. So as I mentioned, there are so many threats threats which contributed to the declining of the ocean. As I mentioned that there is an increase in global warming. The global temperature is keeping on rising day after day. And as I said, this is mostly in a large percentage contributed by the increase of carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere. And we know what carbon dioxide gas it does into the atmosphere. I don't want to go that far in chemistry and all the things, but it goes there and make the increase of global temperature. But also we have the rise of sea level. This also caused destruction of most of the coastal areas, coastal states. And the sea levels, we all know that it is also the result of the increase of temperature, because most of the ice caps keep on melting. And once they melt, all the water flowing from mountainous, from northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, all the ice caps are melting and all the waters are going all the way and end into the ocean. And then they cause the rise of the sea levels. At the end, once the sea levels rise, then it causes the destructions of human life, cause the destruction of coastal areas and so forth. Another threat we have the so-called eutrophication. This is another challenge and a problem which is mostly occurring. Is mostly occurring at very high rate. And as we all know, eutrophication, this is caused by the increase in fertility, or nutrients into the ocean. Previously, I just pointed out that human activities accompanied by, for example, agricultural activities along the coastal areas, this lead into the increase or discharge of fertilizers and those nutritive material or nutrients into the ocean. And at the end, they cause the so-called eutrophication. Eutrophication create or pose a lot of problems in marine environment. But also we have the discharge of sewages from factories and industries. This also causes a lot of problem to marine environment or marine ecosystems, because some discharges, they do have some chemicals contents which are very poisonous to marine organisms. So this is another very challenging issue. We do have oil and spills, which also pollute our oceans. Oils comes from industries, from maritime transportation. So they always keep on discharging these oils, and they are very fatal to marine organisms. One of the challenges which is caused by oil spills, it cuts off supply of oxygen, because once the oil is spread on the surface of water, it doesn't allow we call it air exchange at the water surface. And once it cut off the supply of oxygen, you know what will happen. Most of the organisms which depends, they dissolve the oxygen in the water, they will die or they will perish. As you can see from my slide here, at the top right corner there, you can see that is one of the example of the ship tankers which was carrying an oil, and I think this happened in Mauritius. An accident happened, and all the area was covered by oil spills. So ecologically, it posed a lot of problems, challenges, and I believe it also creating some negative impact on marine organisms. Below that picture, you can also see at the down right corner, those are industries, factories, release carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. And this carbon dioxide, as I said, lead to the increase in the global warming, but also they do change the chemistry of the water, because once carbon dioxide is dissolved in water, they tend to create the so-called weak carbonic acid, and they change the medium the medium condition of the water. They turn it into acidic, and this may cause may cause coral bleaching, and may cause even other disasters to marine organisms, which they are not capable to withstand acidic medium. We also do have invasive species from different parts, and this mostly happen during marine transportation. Some organisms are transported from one part of the world to another part. So if you put another species which originally was not there at that particular point, they also do cause some challenges to indigenous or organisms which have been there before. And as I said, I pointed the area of overfishing or fishing beyond capacity is also one of the challenge or the recent challenge facing our marine environment. So again, if you take all these cumulatively, these are quite very major challenging facing our oceans. And that's why we do say that the status of our ocean is not in good health. It's because of these things. And most of these challenges or threats are imposed by human beings. We are the one who are causing threats and challenges in the marine environment. Anthropogenic activities in a huge percentage is the one which create changes in ecology and put impact in marine organisms. So we are responsible for most of the things happening, and we are also accountable to make intervention to ensure that we change our habits and we reduce what we have been doing to threaten our ocean. So what should be the immediate solution to restore the health of our ocean? First of all, one of the solutions which can be taken is to establish the so-called marine parks to protect biodiversity. And also recently there have been initiatives to make establishment of the so-called MSP, marine spatial planning. All of these are just tools to ensure that we protect the marine biodiversity from different threats, as I have mentioned. And these threats which we are trying to overcome or to protect is against human. Is from those which are imposed by human beings. Also, we need to reduce destructive fishing practices such as trawling. We also need to help fishers to maintain their livelihoods. It's not only about telling fishermen that you should not go and fish beyond capacity, but we need to create an alternative way to support their livelihoods. Because fishermen, they have been there. They have been fishing in their premises, in their areas, since their childhood until they are adult. So sometimes it's quite difficult to go there and tell someone that you should continue to fish while he has been fishing there for his entire life or for her entire life. So then we need to come up with another intervention. And one of the intervention is to create another source of livelihoods, which will support their livelihoods. If they will not go to fish there on daily basis, then you have to create something, to establish something which will support their livelihood in their area. But we also needed to enforce our laws and regulations, which are already there. I do believe each of member states in WIO region or globally or coastal states, they do have their laws and regulations. But the problems, the challenge which is here is just enforcement. You might have good laws, good regulations and policies, but if there is no enforcement, then nothing can be done. So we shall keep on singing and singing day after day, but if we don't make enforcement of what we have, like laws and regulation, then nothing will be done. So one of the immediate solution or intervention we have to do is to make sure that our government and all authorities responsible for enforcement of laws and regulation, they are doing so. We need also to have good environmental policies, as well as we have to provide environmental awareness to the people, particularly coastal communities. We have to keep on telling them what they should do, what they have to do, just to make them aware that if you do this and this, then we are going to cause problems or consequences on the marine environment and its living resources. So our workshop here today is about our role, we as young scientists or emerging scientists from coastal areas. Then what should we do? Because it's obvious known that our ocean is threatened, our ocean is declining, and what causes the ocean to declining I have already mentioned there. So what kind of the roles are we playing we as a young scientist? So first of all, is to engage youth or early career scientists in marine related projects. For example, I heard that Mr. Ilas, he has been doing projects on seagrasses. Other scientists, young scientists are engaging in projects like mangrove restorations. So all of these help to, they are called carbon sinks, they help to absorb carbon dioxide and it sinks into their roots. So they reduce the atmospheric carbon dioxide. So these are the kind of the projects which youth can be engaged, can be involved, but also in different campaigns. For example, during World Ocean Day, World Fisheries Day, World Mangroves Day, those are the kind of initiatives where the youth can be engaged and they can promote or make a campaign to restore our marine ecosystems. Again, there should be also a sharing of knowledge and the skills of ocean sustainability from experts. This goes in line with training and mentorship. In our region has got people who are already experienced, competent scientists in marine environment. So I think these people, they have responsibility to share their skills and knowledge to impact the youth, so that they can also implementing the conservation of the marine environment. So also these researchers and scientists, they do have this kind of responsibilities to share the knowledge and the skills. But also youth should keep on searching, the knowledge and the readings and engaging in different programs, workshop, conference to gain the knowledge which they come and apply on marine just for the sake of securing our ocean. But another important thing is to engage in youth, to engage youth in ocean literacy, because ocean literacy, it gives you a broad awareness of the ocean. Ocean literacy, it will give you those skills and the knowledge and what you need to do, kind of intervention you should do, just to protect and secure our ocean and its resources. I think those are the quite most important things. But people, they should also keep on educating themselves, go in different dialogues like this presentation we are doing right now, in workshops, from there, you can build a network. You can make organization with other people, just for the goals of ensuring that we protect it and conserve our ocean. Yeah, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much, Iras.
Thank you very much for a very wonderful presentation, Mr. Edward Senkondo. And for myself, I've got different things that are really wonderful in understanding different areas where the ocean is really facing from. And as Eric Aria, how we can together, I really like the point of that. We need mentors and experts in to guide our career scientists in their areas of where they want to specialize, to expertise and work on. We need those, and West Indian Marine Science Association has been providing different training to the career scientists, and I'm sure different methods it's going to work on if we can also have different methods for our area career scientists. And I'm sure all the area careers here have had a wonderful presentation from Mr. Edward Senkondo, and they are going to together going to work on the different areas our ocean is facing inside the region. And we are going to also work on the key takeaway points on finding the training areas to really understand the areas where you're going to work on and specialize, and different activities that you want to do and the projects that you want to have and everything. So I look forward to see a very engaging careers in the region. And as the General Secretary of the Western Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network, Frank has said that we have different ways of showing your projects and activities that you're conducting on our site, in our social media platforms, even in the journal. So feel free to reach out the West Indian Ocean Area Career Scientist Network for your work, for collaborations, and for help that you might need in everything to make your work successful, and to make sure that you accelerate and develop in your career path that you are taking in saving our ocean. Your work is really appreciated, and your contribution is known in different areas that you're working on. Thank you very much, Mr. Edward Senkondo. We were to have Mr. Geoffrey Rucho in a dialogue session. He is trying to join us. I think Ms. Lillian could help us in bringing him in, so we can proceed in his
Ilas. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that I got another meeting from 3:30. So the meeting has already started. So I'm kindly requesting to leave this meeting. Sorry, I would like also to continue with the panel, but it won't be possible because I have to join another meeting right now.
Cool, it's okay. It's okay. Feel free to continue working with us, and we are really happy that you really took time to give us your presentation and share everything that you had to us.
Sure. Thank you so much, and I will share my presentation to you. So if anybody needs the presentation,
it is really appreciated in the network. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Asana. Hi, panel.
For just stay with us. While we are fetching from Culture Association of the, I think I should open up with Mr. Bahati, who is going to discuss in another very specific area of our ocean, the effect of plastic pollutants and how career scientists we can work on that areas too, and solving the ocean in plastic pollutions. Mr. Bahati Mayoma, you're warmly welcome, and very happy to have you today. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Iras, and the entire participant team. I thought I was going to start it at 16 hours, but no problem. Let me share what I have at the moment, and just a moment. Just a moment. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Silas.
Mr. Bahati, we can see your presentation and you are really perfectly audible.
Okay. Let me, as you can all see, my name is Bahati Sostenes Mayoma. I'm from the University of Dar es Salaam. My area of research interest is on aquatic ecology, ecotoxicology, and pollution. And I'm going to present briefly about the issue of plastic pollution in Tanzania. Just a quick understanding, what is microplastic, which is actually a fragment or a small unit of plastic, is something which, or is an item or particle which is less than 5 millimeters in diameter, and it could be from primary and secondary sources. And the primary sources include pellets, beads, which are mostly used in personal care products like cosmetics, shampoo, toothpaste, etc. The secondary source of microplastic comes from fragments, especially the broken items, which normally originate from big items which undergo fragmentation due to various forces, including wave energy, sunlight, and any other agent of degradation. And actually, the most interesting aspect of microplastic is always shape. People want to know what kind of shape are those plastic or microplastic. And here we have things like fragment, line, or sometimes called fiber, could also be pellets or film. So these are some kind of physical properties of these plastics. It could also be color. What kind of color is normally common of this microplastic? So that could be red, blue, green, black, yellow, etc. So we need to know actually which color is dominant so that you can anticipate the likelihood of ingestion, because there are some organisms which only consume items of certain color. So it's very important to know the type of color for us to associate with the risk. It is also important to know the type of shape for us to associate that shape with risk of ingestion or impact to the organism. Yeah, currently, despite all the information existing about microplastic, we are lacking information on the amount of microplastic in water and the air. So only very few studies have done the assessment of microplastic, especially in air. So this is an area where the young career scientists are also encouraged to think about in the future. If you look at the last bullet, you see there are some estimates which was provided by the CSIRO, which is an Australian National Science Agency, which says they think around 14 million metric ton are already deep in the ocean. Those are key information for the audience actually to try to understand how bad is plastic or microplastic. So someone might be interested to know where are they coming from. So according to OSPA report of 2009, it is believed that most of the plastic, especially the microplastic, are coming from land-based activities. which include industry, agriculture, tourism, and the trade. And we also have another main source of plastic, and the microplastic comes from shipping, fishing, oil, and the gas exploration. We all know that most of this petroleum extraction industry, they spend a lot of resources. Some of those items which they depend for exploration are normally packed in plastic, so eventually they end up generating a lot of plastic waste while at sea. Yeah, so where actually this plastic ending up, you can see if you look at the left-hand side image, it gives you a summary of some of the activities. For example, human is the main source through different activities. And once you throw your bottle which you have used, or if it is a carrier bag, it actually interact with the environmental forces, including sunlight. And through sunlight, we know that sun has energy within it, which will end up weakening the plastic item, and eventually this plastic item will break down to small pieces, and those small pieces are what we call microplastic, which, if you remember, as anything which is less than 5 millimeter diameter. And those microplastic are consumed by fish, and then fish are consumed by aquatic mammals, birds, and eventually we also depend on fish as human. So we end up again meeting the same plastic which we disposed of in the environment. We end up meeting. So you can see how this life cycle goes on. And the human, who is the main source, is now again meeting the same plastic which he or she discarded irresponsibly sometimes ago. If you look on your right-hand side, this is a bit a new area of microplastic. You can see we are now having another microplastic or another form of microplastic, which are coming mainly from personal care and the laundry activities. So if someone is actually sitting for beautification, then eventually the items which are used for beautification, if it's the lotion or whatever, are also thrown away in the environment. And as you can see, they end up actually breaking down into what we call microbeads. And they are the same thing which can also be consumed by fish. And again, we meet them on our table. Another thing for you to note is that most of the personal care products, including scrubbing materials, shampoo, the toothpaste, they all have microplastic, but in forms of microbeads. And these microbeads are made intentionally to make sure that they function specific role. For example, if the personal care product is intended for removing the dead skin, scrubbing, then they put something inside which can help removing this dead cell or dead skin, exfoliation, we call it exfoliation. And it is again the same problem, which once you have done all the scrubbing, wherever we wash our face or wash our body, and those water plus the microbeads are directed to the aquatic environment. And that's where we see a problem again, aquatic organisms consuming them, and then ending up on top food chain, where we as humans are also interested in eating those big fish. The other thing is also washing of the clothing. So if we go and do laundry of your clothes, you have to know that you are also discharging microplastic in one way or the other. Just to give you an idea, one toothpaste, despite of the brand you are using, is estimated to have around 300,000 microbits. So you can imagine, given the population of Tanzania we have, if everybody is using 1 toothpaste per month on average, then you can imagine how many microbits are we generating into our water bodies. So someone might ask, why should we be worried about plastic and the microplastic? The main reason for us to understand is that microplastic are not biodegradable. That means they cannot be destroyed by bacteria. So they are persistent in that way. So they can live over 100 years on average. That means it is something which, if you put in the environment, it will not disappear soon. It will only change shape from macro, that means larger than 5 millimeter, to micro, meaning less than 5 millimeter in size. Okay. And then you have what we call, once it has been ingested by organisms, it ends up actually being transferred from small to large fish. And that's where we can also interact with plastic. But once ingested, they can also cause injuries and also digestive blockage. They can even change level of oxygen in the blood. They are vectors for toxic chemicals and the pathogens due to large surface to area to volume ratio. So this makes pollutant because of the surface area to volume ratio. But remember, most of the plastic are organic. They're made from hydrocarbons, so they will tend by default to attract organic contaminant, which are actually problematic to our health, including polyaromatic hydrocarbons. You have PCB. They are by default or naturally attracted to plastic particles floating in the environment, in the sea, or being dumped in the soil and sediment. So just to give you a quick understanding, is Tanzania and Africa, how far are we in terms of understanding the issue of plastic pollution in general? You can see on the left-hand side, again, we have this photo or image which was produced by plotting the areas which have been surveyed. And you can see in 2017, the Africa in general, the Africa continent in general, despite where one might be coming from, is almost like green, yeah? But this lack of these big dots means we haven't actually devoted the energy and the resources in studying our waters and the soil, as well as sediment. So that's why you see Africa looks like it's more green, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, it is because there are only a few studies. You cannot compare with probably other countries, like you are seeing, where they have actually put a lot of dots. That means they have been covered a lot compared to Africa. And if you go to the right-hand side image, you will see this was 2020, this 2017. 3 years later, actually Africa is still like green, yeah? No information, only a few information which have been put out. And this actually is making Africa continent lag behind the other continents in terms of number of studies which have conducted. And you can see in 1977 to 2020, of course, a number of studies have been increasing, and we are now almost publishing, by 2020, we had almost 28 articles which have been published. And if you look, most of them have been published from field and followed by review and also laboratory studies. And this is according to Alimi 2020. However, generally looking, if you look at the African continent, you can find that most of the studies have been concentrated in South Africa. And that's where they have this long history of doing study in microplastic and the plastic. But if you look at Mozambique and Tanzania, actually there are few studies, but Mozambique looks like there's none, despite the long coastline which is available as a site. And if you go to Kenya, yeah, it seems like there have been somehow some few studies as well, but again, Africa looks like green, but in fact, it's not green because as a continent, we are facing the problem of resources to capture the waste before they reach our water bodies. So that gives us an indication that probably we have more in our environment than what we know at the moment. So what are we doing actually in Tanzania and East Africa? Personally, I've been involved in some studies in East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, so at least I have the know-how of what is going on. And given the complexity and the interaction between freshwater and the marine, we have been trying to expand our coverage, not only along the coastline, but also going deep into other water bodies like Lake Victoria, which is connected to the Mediterranean, and other water bodies, which brings a lot of plastic in our ocean. So as you can see, we have been engaged in different studies, and from Murphy Island to Lake Victoria to Mbweni Island to Lamu, northern Kenya, and the other parts. So we are just doing something at the moment, try out to fill this knowledge gap which is existing in East Africa. And so far, studies have shown that we have plastic in fish, fish here in East Africa, and this is according to Biginagwa 2016. We have found microplastic in cockles, fish, and this is according to Myoma 2020. We have also found disease-causing pathogens actually in Zanzibar, and this was according to Rasol at 2021, where they found drug-resistant bacteria attached on plastics which were recovered from the sea. Another study has also been published recently by Mbugan, which found microplastic causing histological damage to the fish. And again, when we had this expedition in Lake Victoria, we found that plastic and the microplastic are up to 50 meters deep. So this is very dangerous. And just to give you an idea, we are also working on some data which were collected from northern Kenya. We are also seeing the same problem that plastic are not only floating, but there are some which are even found at the bottom of the sea. Now, what can be done? There's different ways, but the best way is to adopt 4 R's. That means refuse, reduce, reuse, and also recycle. We think that if people refuse using plastic, that could be one of the best, but if they cannot refuse, they should reduce using plastic. And if that option is also difficult, then they should reuse before they throw away. And actually, even they have to think before throwing away, they should actually try to recycle it. So if we can go in that way, we hope that probably we are going to reduce this problem. That solution to switch from plastic item to organic item. If you look at this photo or image here, shows on the left-hand side, these are plastic items. So we can actually make almost the same item from wood. And actually, people from the climate change might ask, hey, then we need to cut more trees. It's not true, because trees can be replanted. So you can actually do commercial afforestation where you cut and replace those ones. And by so doing, then we can actually minimize a lot of this problem with plastic, because they can stay over 100 years. Another thing is to adopt circular economy, as I mentioned. Also make what we call sorting and source. Each household has to sort out the item. At the moment, what is happening is, people at household level, they are just mixing items. They put organic metals, wood together, and this makes it very difficult for people involved in recycling, because they need again to incur a lot of cost in trying to sort out for the material to be fit for recycling. Then what we are also asking the stakeholders is especially this aspect of extended producers' responsibility. We need actually producers to be responsible for taking out their product once they have been used. For example, in other countries, if you drink your water or whatever beverage, then you are allowed actually to go and sell it to the distributors. They compensate you by bringing back. So we need also that one, and we believe that that could be one of the motives to reduce the amount of plastic. So where do we need more research? As you can see, the African continent and Tanzania in general seem like they are clean, but it's because they don't have the countries in the continent actually do not have enough information. So we encourage young career scientists to invest in more energy and the resources they have in trying to understand the level of plastic pollution in vital marine ecosystems like mangrove, seagrass, and the coral reef. Actually, very few studies have been done, so we need more. And we know that especially these marine ecosystems are very important in terms of supporting the marine biodiversity. So if we understand what is there, it will be easy for the planning and the solving this problem. We also need to understand the amount of plastic generated by tires, rubbers, and the brake pads. Nobody actually is aware of how much the old tires, or the used tires and the rubbers are causing to our environment. They're actually part of plastic problem. So we also need to put more effort in that area, because we have a lot of cars in Tanzania, East Africa, and Africa in general, but we don't know where to put the old or the broken rubbers and the tires, and it's very common to see them being scattered in the street, but eventually they end up generating microplastic, the consequence of which is actually still understudied. We also need to understand the possible ecological and health risk associated with transboundary marine litter. Just to give you a simple understanding here in Tanzania, there's some parts here in Tanzania, and I think in northern Kenya, in Lamu, where you find that plastic are coming from different countries and they're probably brought by wind and the currents. And we don't know the content they are carrying from those country of origin. And this is also an area where we could put our effort to try to understand, could it be source of invasive species, but also could be source of toxic chemicals coming into our waters in East Africa and the Western Indian region in general. After having said that, thank you so much for listening. Asante.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bahati Maremo, for a wonderful presentation. I'm very sure every career scientist and everyone who is working in marine-related fields who is here today with us, he has heard you or she has heard you very well in every areas of plastic pollution effects and the extent to which the plastic have affected us, and the gaps which are not yet studied in Tanzania, specifically in Tanzania and the whole of East Africa in general. And I think this is not the first time that we are hearing in this meeting from about Mayoma, the gaps in oceanic challenges in aspect of plastic oceans. Also, we heard from Dr. Senkondo showing the areas where every career scientist could engage. We also heard from different areas that every careers can condemn. So it's like a very wonderful call for people to join in and work together in those areas where there are still gaps where we can work together and find ways of collaborations, and where early career scientists, conservationists, and can be engaged in different areas, in different projects and research, and work on together. And I'm sure early career will be engaged in different projects and activities and research. We need to hear from you, from what you are doing, how are you engaging in the science, from your research activity. Mr. Frank Mirogo had shared that there will be possibilities of having a symposium session from the Western Indian Science Association Symposium, which is going to be held in South Africa. It's wonderful to see early careers work will be can be shown or can be portrayed, and their work can be really showcased. So this is like a call to every career scientist and journalist and everyone who is with us today to really feel free to engage with the network, to really feel free to engage with other early careers, and to really feel free to share the work activities. We really need to see early careers in and everything within. So it was very wonderful to have anything or any question that you might have before we close the question in the session. I saw some while if there is any question in the before we close up the session. While you are posting on the question in the session, I would like to thank everybody who their time to join us today and listen to the session we are delivered, and we are looking forward to see engagement of early careers in saving our ocean throughout the ocean decades, activities in different aspects and areas. I see a hand from Matonya. Please put your question in the question and answer session, and our presenter will respond to it. I also see different participants like Dr. Nariman Dawi, who was with us at the beginning of this, and everyone else. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you very much for being with us in this session. If there is any question before we wind up the webinar of the day, please put it on in the question and we'll respond to it. Yeah, if we don't get a question from the participants, if you can see the question answer button, and it's really visible for everyone. If you have your question, please put there. We're waiting for you. Your question, your comment, anything, you can put it on the question and answer session, and I'm sure everyone else is going to respond to it. Yes, I saw a comment from Ashwini Satho. Very sorry if I pronounced wrongly your name. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the appreciation for a wonderful sharing with us. And we also look forward to your submission. I think you can reach out to us for your innovative ideology research article contribution for this opportunity. Just reach out to us via our network email, Western Indian Ocean Early Career Scientist Network. Sorry, it's Western Indian Ocean Early Career Scientist Network, in abbreviation WIO-ECSN @gmail.com. Frank, if you could have put the email, the network email in the chat box, everyone can see. So it's just WIO-ECSN @gmail.com. You can reach out to us for any submission you might have, or if you have Western Indian Early Career Scientist Network Please do. We'll take you through the whole of joining the network so that we can work together. Works in your projects, in and we will be happy to developing and contributing to our so
Yes.
cool. Thank you, Ashwini. Do so. Reach out to WIO-ECSN@gmail.com. Be wonderful. A question from Mr. Paul Antonio in the chat box, and the question and answer session. I think it will be wonderful. Paul is asking, how do the role of producer of plastic, policymakers, and final users of plastic balances to control plastic, microplastic pollution in Tanzania? He wants to understand the roles of those producers of plastic and policymakers and final users to balance the control of plastic and microplastic pollution in Tanzania. I think I can post this question to Mr. Bahati, though he touched some key points on it. How can policymakers, plastic producers can balance or can control the plastic pollution problem? Mr. Bahati, if you could respond to that. Okay. Okay, it's okay. I think there's some issue of connectivity with Mr. Bahaj Mayome, but there are two posted questions about the plastic effects and microplastic issues on the roles of policymakers and everything. And I also see another question. On the effect of microplastic abundance. So if Mr. Bahaj Mayoma is having some internet network issues, just post your question to our email and we'll reach out to him, and I'm sure he will respond back to you, and we can connect you both to and discuss further on those aspects. Otherwise, I would like to thank everyone for being with us today, from our honorable speakers, from Dr. Mathias Iguru, Edwin Senkondo, Frank Mirobo, Bahati Mayoma, Kojo Solaki, thank you very much, and Mr. Alex Peter for being with us today and sharing your views in different areas of climate change, ocean healthy and productivity, and also plastic pollution impact. And together we saw how Eric and Turi work and how they can work together in and solving oceanic challenges in their sciences, in their research, in their projects, and everything. And thank you very much, Frank, for the wonderful presentation about our network. the Western Indian Ocean Area Career Sciences Network, and thanks for the understanding of how area careers can be helped through the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association. And here on, I'm looking forward, we are looking forward to see more engagement of area careers in the region, a very active participation in different activities. We really truly want to hear your work on researches and activities. Feel free to reach out to us anytime you have something to share with us. We'll be really happy to collaborate with you in your activity. Thank you very much. And before we close up, I also like to thank Lilian Omor for being with us and coordinating this wonderful session today. It was really helpful. Thank you very much. I think I can close up the session by saying thanks to everyone else. So I believe if I see some different questions and answers in the chat box, very nice to hear, very nice to know. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Nariman, for wonderful response and for the work. I think we can close our meeting from here. Thank you, everyone. Lilian, you could help me in ending the session.